Welcome to selfdiscoveryradio.com, where the orchard of wisdom is just ready for picking. We celebrate your why, the journey that you've taken that inspires someone else. We support your services, we support your story. Come and be our guest, become a host, be an author with us. Come and see what we've got. Our next show is...
The Wellness Journey inspires, enlightens, and informs women over 40 and all the people who love them. It is a journey that we will take with tips from authors, doctors, and practitioners of holistic living. During this show, experts in the field will provide tips, tools, and techniques that are fun and simple for all to try. Come join me on this journey. Get inspired, get informed, and get well. And welcome to the Wellness Journey podcast series. It's wonderful for you to be here today. I'm so excited that you've decided to take some time and spend it with us talking about things I'm so passionate about, which is wellness for women over 40, 50, 60, and beyond. I don't know when you might be listening to this show, but right now I am in Sacramento burning up. It's 105 degrees and it's not even 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. So this is why I'm sleeveless in the coolness of my office and prayer room, bringing to you something that I think is really important. As we age, we begin to take a look, and assess all the different things that are going on in our lives. And one of the things we begin to assess is, am I living my best life right now? Am I really doing the things that motivate me, that keep me well in my mind, body, and spirit, and that I'm passionate and excited about? And if I'm not living that kind of life, how do I move out of that? How do I make that change? So today we have with us Shui Ways, who is a certified, I want to make sure I have this right, a certified interior environment coach and also author of 2 wonderful books, Feel Good Spaces, and her new book, 21 Rituals to Transform Your Life and Interior Space. And I asked Shui to come on here because she herself has gone through a miraculous transition over the last 5 years. And she is not only my colleague, but a very good friend. And I saw the other day, it was about less than a month ago, Shui, I was on Facebook and I saw this posting about engagement for you. And I was like, what? Because it seemed like it came out of nowhere, because I know a lot of your story and what was going on 5 years ago and all that, and here you are here. So I thought that your story would be motivating to other women. I was with a woman yesterday who's my age, 61, and she had lost her husband a few years ago, and she really felt like life was over, for her. And she said she was just going to sit around and wait to die. But then she said over time there was something that she began to start reading and basically listening to on the Wellness Woman page and the show and the group and all of that. And she suddenly has been remotivated and re-engaged. And I met her at this social event and she comes up to me. I didn't know who she was. And she said, I'm one of your followers and I just wanted to thank you because your words and the guests that you have and everything else, they're so motivating. And now she's beginning to pursue her passion, which is being a singer, and she's 61. It's never too late. And one of the things I want you to share is with our audience is your story and your never too late story. So welcome. So glad that you're here today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure, as always, to be on your show.
Well, tell me a little bit, first of all, about from whence you came and what's been going on and the miraculous transition you've had.
Okay, well, as you know, Linus, we've been, working together for quite some time. I think it's been over 5 years. I don't even know.
I've lost track of it. It's been a long time.
Right. So we met 2012 when my first book, Feel Good Spaces, Decorating Your Home for the Body, Mind, and Spirit came out. And at that time, I wrote the book because I'm an interior environment coach and was a designer, and I'm moving more towards coaching now. But the whole idea was decorating your home to really help you heal and transform your life, right? So at that time, I was married and went through shortly thereafter a divorce and major life transition because, there comes a time in our lives that maybe we outgrow people we're with, or things change, we change. And, at that time I was in my mid 40s. I just turned 50 last week.
Birthday. That's right. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. A couple weeks ago on the 12th, whatever. And we just realized that there's certain things in our lives that may used to work for us, but don't anymore. And then you come to a point in your life where you, or at least for me, that I wanted to be really, truly authentic in how I showed up and how I lived my life, and to truly not only accept myself, but live a life that was meaningful and that was based on truth. And at that time, I wasn't doing that. And I was becoming increasingly unhappy and a whole host of other things. So long story short, made a decision. Me and my ex-partner made a decision that the situation wasn't working for either of us. So we've, moved on, and he has remarried and has a child. And I have, developed another really meaningful relationship, not only with a new partner, but with myself, because the most important thing that I had found through this whole process is learning who I am and meeting people and exposing myself to situations and experiences that I had never done before, even with people, it just becoming friends and developing relationships with people that I normally would never have done, because I've lived a kind of more of a sheltered, carefully curated lifestyle, that I wasn't really exposed to a lot of different cultures or different people from different socioeconomic backgrounds and all of that. So it has, and living on your own and being responsible for yourself, all those things. And it was just really, really a major experience within the last 5 years. I've moved 3 times. Met someone soon after my separation and divorce, and things had traveled to some really cool places, and done some things that were on my bucket list, and still doing things on my bucket list, and really finding out what really makes me tick and who I am as an individual. I realized that a lot of decisions that I made in the past were to please other people. Now I'm not doing that. I'm pleasing myself. I'm, working through the flow of things a little bit more. I've had my challenges, but now I feel that at the end of the day, this is the most important thing that I think I really have come to realize, that you are responsible. I am responsible. You are responsible for your own life, right? So every decision that I make, I have to take responsibility for it. I can't blame someone else for why certain things aren't happening for me, or why I'm in a particular situation versus somebody else. Everyone has an equal opportunity to take responsibility for their lives, good, bad, or indifferent. I know I've made some major mistakes. I'm correcting those mistakes as we speak. But, at the end of the day, we can't go around playing and focusing on a victim mentality.
Right.
And that, above and beyond, has been my number one lesson learned. My number 2 lesson is to always use your intuition. If you are in a situation that doesn't feel right, if you're around people who are not of your highest good, you have to go with that. You can't ignore your intuition on things. And that's for years with many different relationships. I ignored my intuition, my gut feeling about a person. So now, or a situation. So now I am more relying on my intuition. I'm taking responsibility, and I've built my faith through the universe, through God, whatever you want to call it. I call upon it now, and I don't depend so much on what other people say. I depend on what's going to be right for me. And I'm at the point, or I'm getting there. I'm not quite there, but I'm getting very close to the point where I am no longer concerned about what other people think of me, or concerned about other people's opinions of how I'm living or what I'm doing and whether or not they're getting attention versus somebody else, or if they like or not like how I'm living or how I'm showing up, because it's about my life. It's not about theirs. And these are things that have been very, very hard lessons for me. And I also have been able to understand people more and not make assumptions about things or situations or individuals, because all of us are coming to a place, we're all showing up in a way that is an accumulation of various experiences. So to judge another person and say, well, why is he or she behaving that way towards me? I'm learning that 99.9% of what happens and how people treat you or how they come to you has nothing to do with you.
That's right. It's not about you.
It has a lot to do with whatever's going on in their world.
Absolutely.
So it's helping me learn not to take these things and these people personally. I'm only responsible for myself and how I react towards the situation. And I can come to it with compassion and understanding that people are just living what's going on with them. And you have to be compassionate about it. Sometimes it doesn't look that good, doesn't feel that good. And a lot of times people aren't coming at you very spiritual.
Right.
As Yanla says, you know.
Right.
But
she's right.
You know, she says she always, well, yeah, I've been reading Yanla since I was like in my late 20s, no, mid 20s, I think. And she says, you know, sometimes some of her experiences of, well, no, that's spiritual.
Right, exactly. People are who they are. They come at you, if you want to use the terminology, from the flesh, not from the spirit. They're all in, or as they say, they're all in their feelings at the time.
Right, exactly.
And again, their feelings are based upon not necessarily you, but accumulation of experiences that have brought them to that point. I call it the step on the foot, step on my toe syndrome. You know how you're at a party and some guy steps on some other guy's foot and say, hey, you stepped on my foot. And it's saying, you know, there's a fight. And everybody's like, why would they fight over, you know, someone stepping on his foot? But it's not about the stepping on the foot. It's the accumulation of occurrences that led up to that point that caused him to get angry. It's that all that pushback of not dealing with whatever it was. And the next thing you know, someone steps on your foot and you just unleash all the other stuff. And doesn't have anything to do with that person. So, you know, you're absolutely right. And how did your experience of transforming from, you know, being married and living in a huge, beautiful home, you know, you shared that with me, and, you know, moving to a smaller apartment and totally changing your lifestyle and doing your own self-evaluations and transitioning into a completely different life. How did that influence what you do and the book that you wrote, the second book that you wrote, the 21 Rituals to Transform Your Life and Interior Space?
How did it influence me? I just really took some time to really understand that, you know, large spaces, a home with whatever the conveniences that I had, really doesn't make the person. The person makes the space. And when I first got my first apartment, I was just concerned of just being safe and having a nurturing environment around me as I was going through this major transition. So, and I wanted to be near, you know, at that point in time, I became very, very interested in health. and maintaining a healthy lifestyle. So prior to this whole transition, I was 65 pounds heavier and not eating right. I was not exercising and things like that. So it was very important to me to live in an environment that was going to encourage me to exercise, whether it was in my interior space or close by. So, I lost like over 50 pounds and, really transformed my life all the way around, which I continue to maintain to this day. And there was other things I did as well. And I chronicalized everything in this book called Landing on Your Feet and Putting Down Roots, 21 Rituals to Transform Your Life in Your Interior Space. And this book really was made or created to help others like me, like you, like everyone who's been through major life transitions, whether it's through a death in the family or a divorce or even if you're having a baby or whatever, those things are, it catapults you into a different lifestyle. But most importantly, as I am encountering a lot of middle-aged women, women over 40 who are either going through these situations or have been through these situations. When I came out with this book and started talking to people about it and doing a lot of book signings and so forth last year, a lot of people came to me and said, Sherry, you really hit this on the nail. This is so much needed. We really admire the work that you're doing and how you have transformed your life. And as I mentioned to you, Linus, before we started the interview, that I'm still a work in progress. There's still some things that I am working on within myself, within my life that I'm really striving to do, but I'm not a quitter,
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
I refuse to be defined by other people. I refuse to just say, whatever. I'm always going to work towards my goals. And I have so many goals, even now at 50, I have so many goals and I am going to meet them because I always do, because I compete.
And I love that. And I'm glad you said that because as I said, when I met this woman yesterday, she was, I met a woman yesterday and, she was talking about being 61 and realizing that just because she's 61 doesn't mean that she doesn't have value. She has a wealth of experience, a wealth of knowledge that she can share with others, and that she still wants to make her mark in the world, and it's not too late. And I find a lot of times that women over 50 and 60 in particular have a tendency to get more complacent and say, okay, well, I'll be dealing with the grandkids, or I'm going to go into this retirement community, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but it's kind of like they're like slowly withdrawing from life and doing what's expected of them now that they're at that age, instead of maybe re-engaging in life in a different way. I know when I decided at 51 to leave corporate America and to form my own company, I had a lot of friends. They didn't really say it to my face, but I know they were thinking it. I'm like, what are you doing? You're not going to be contributing to your 401k anymore? You're not going to take retirement? So yeah, I'm going to still contribute, just in a different way. And yeah, I'm walking away from the six figures, but I also felt like I'm saving my life because I had an anxiety disorder at the time. And I also think I added years to my life. There, as you know, there is nothing like doing something that you're passionate about and the light that it brings to your life as a result. We spend so many hours working and doing stuff, usually in the capacity for other people, our bosses, our children, our family members, our neighbor, our church, our girlfriends, all our husbands, partners, all these other people. But we don't do as much in terms of what we want to do. And at this stage of life, it's pretty much, as I mentioned before, excuse my French, but I'm going to say it, you have to either shit or get off the pot. At this point in life, you have to decide, okay, I'm going to go ahead and pursue what I want to do. And I can tell you from my own experience, doing that kind of thing can be life affirming. And I'm not telling you, like, quit your job and, go out and create a company and figure out what you want to do after you've quit the job. I'm not saying that at all. But I am saying that idea of self-reflection and figuring out what else it is in your life that you feel that the universe has for you, that you're passionate about, that you haven't pursued yet. I think that that makes a major difference in your overall wellness. Because I can look at you and tell from the first time I met you and now that not has there just been a huge transition figuratively in terms of, you know, you're losing weight and all that other stuff, but spiritually as well. There's some things that are going on there that I can see now that it's just fantastic. And I just want to say, I am so proud of you, Sherry. I mean,
I'm really humbled by what you just said, because, you know, a lot of times when you're going through these things, you're not really conscious of how you're showing up to other people. You know, for me, the last 5 years has been transformative, but it's been about survival. It's been about learning who I am and what makes me tick and what's important to me. And, you know, I'm not going to lie to you. I had those feelings where, you know, wow, you know, I really messed up here. I didn't do the things that my parents told me to do, or I didn't, you know, fulfill things that I know other people in my age group have done and are doing, or appear to be doing, I should say.
Appear to be doing, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
By the
So
skin,
let's be clear about that.
the skin of their chin, but yeah.
We'll be clear about that. But the thing that is too, I have had some really, I was thinking about this the other day as I was turning 50. I have had some really amazing experiences because I took a lot of risks that other people would not dare to do, and have been a lot of places. And, you know, the life has really given me a lot of tremendous opportunities to sit in rooms with people, to visit places that I never thought I would, that a lot of people that I know have never been. And it continues to be those kinds of experiences for me. And they, you know, and it just is always surprises. You know, life is just really giving me a lot of surprises.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And so I'm working and doing the things that I really enjoy doing now.
That's wonderful. Now, tell me, with the 21 rituals, share with us a couple of those rituals that you do now that has made a big difference in terms of your life and your interior space. And also, before you tell us about that, what is a certified interior environment coach? What is that? That's what you are. So what is that?
Yeah. So an interior environment coach. I got certified in the special program that actually a friend of mine started some years ago, and I was part of the inaugural class. And what an interior environment coach does is they take the aspects of what we call interior design and move it to more of a design psychology approach, where you're understanding how does that design impact the you as an individual. So, you know, how does it impact you in 4 different ways? You know, your health, you know, if we take the word home, for example, the H, your health, you know, how is the environment impacting your health? The O, organization, you know, are you organized? Is the space decluttered? Those kinds of things. M, memories. What are you doing to create memories in the home, in your life, as part of your interior environment experience? And E, that's the last, the environment itself. Is it aesthetically pleasing? How does it make you feel? Those kinds of things. So that's what I do. And that's what I'm moving towards. I was doing decorating design, you know, for many years. But now I'm more interested in coaching and creating awareness of how you can use the environment to reprogram yourself and reset your life. And the books that I've written really help you begin to think in those terms, not just aesthetically, but on how you as an individual can become better as a result of your environment. So this book, Landing on Your Feet, some of the rituals that I've used, some of the chapters each chapter highlights a different ritual. So, the first that I'll just name a couple that I like working with. One is essential oils, and I know you, Linus, are into aromatherapy and so forth. So the fact of using essential oils in the environment, using a diffuser, using lavender and ylang ylang, which is a very grounding scent, and other things, peppermint, that's very invigorating. Those things, I had just, kind of ran into the whole essential oil game, by accident. And I've just been really, really amazed at how essential oils in my environment, how I use it for my beauty and skin and hair care and all of those things have really influenced my life through my transition. The other thing is using plants in the home. And one of the first things I did when I got my first apartment was to buy plants. Plants are really transformational. They clean the air. They help bring your blood pressure down. There's just so many really cool things about plants that, and the ritual of bringing those in. And it's amazing. I have 3 plants. Actually, I'm sitting in front of the one that's been with me since the transition, and it's just growing. It's interesting. It's like,
yes, it is.
I just had to repot this plant like a month ago, and it seems like it's still growing. So I look at that as some sort of a metaphor for my own life. The other thing, and that was the ritual of adding your greens, which is chapter 14. And the ritual of using essential oils is chapter 15. And I give suggestions and so forth on that. And then the other thing that I do that is really interesting is the, let me see here. Here's one, the ritual of surrounding yourself with things that you love. And one of the things that I did.
Exactly what I have here.
Exactly. I see the chart behind you.
Oh, yeah. And, sometimes I think I'll take it down because it's too distracting. But you know what? This is me. And we've talked about my prayer room before, and I have made some changes based upon some suggestions that you have and that you gave me. And it is definitely a room that defines who I am. And when people walk into it, they're like, ah. And many times I thought about, well, maybe I should put some of these pictures in photo albums so it won't be so many pictures. But I look at them every day. And they're my grandchildren, my children, my mom, my dad, the people, my husband, the people who are important to me, my close friends and all of that. They're all right here in front of me at eye level. And then I have my scripture on this side. And look, that right back there, with all these crazy things, those are all prayers and things that I have believing in God for. And as they come to fruition, it says yes and the date on there, okay? And I have the same thing on this side too. And this back here, these are my goals for Wellness Woman 40. And this right here are my goals for the year and the things I need to focus upon as I am working on my goals. I need to focus on forgiveness and grace and prayer and faith and Holy Spirit and wisdom and divine order, great expectations, abundance, prosperity, obedience, courage, and trust. And each one of those things came to me during my meditation and prayer time. So the significant stuff that I have on here, my husband walks in here and he's like, whoa. I said, well, that's okay. Maybe I don't need to be in here right now. when you get to the point where you can come in here and say, then that means that you need to be here. If you're like overwhelmed, you don't need to be here. But it's my space. That's what I love about your books, that you talk about how you can create your own spaces, in a way that gives you a sense of self and a sense of relaxation and like, okay, this is me, whatever the space is, whether it's a room, a whole house, or a corner, and that's what I love about your way of interior design.
Yeah. And, that chapter that deals with the surrounding yourself with things that you love, like you've just demonstrated. One of the first things I did as I was moving, I went to an art show. and it was actually about quilts, African American quilts.
Mm.
And I was really engaged in not a traditional quilt. It was actually a prayer pillow
Mm.
that was created with a lot of beads and embroidery and quilting techniques. And it was made by a very, very auspicious quilter out of Baltimore. And I was so attracted to it that I took what little money I had to purchase that, because I felt like that some way, somehow, that pillow was giving me energy, giving me power, giving me encouragement. And it reminded me of, integrating prayer life into as a ritual. So I had that, and I had a power pole made out of bamboo
Mm.
and various colors that I purchased as well. And I've had that in my living room. It still sits in my living room today. So these are, when you bring, for me, I'm an art lover as well as love decorating and design and those things. But art is very powerful for me because I love colors.
Mm-hmm.
I love, the energy that art brings. And so I always like surrounding myself with art. And, and that is something that I love. And I encourage other people to surround themselves with things that they love too, because when you look at it, it's subconsciously, it's a very subtle reminder of something that brings you joy, right? So those things bring me joy in my interior, just like, and I want to do in my office too, some of the things that you're doing, posting the goals and posting things where you can, I even have a chapter in here on vision boards.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a vision board for what you want your home and your space to be and your life and how all those things are integrated. So we have a chapter about that in there as well. So yes, so those are just a couple of what I call rituals. Now, rituals have more of a defined meaning, but even making your bed each and every day is a ritual that can be celebrated as part of your interior environment. So I use the word ritual very loosely here, but it is essential to the transformation of yourself and your environment. And I use those tools to help me keep growing and keep getting better each and every day.
I just love that. I love talking to you about things like this because it encourages me and gives me another intense to set, because I know I'm getting ready to do some other kind of major change in here. I can feel it coming. It might have to do with painting the walls or something. I'm not sure what it is, but something that is going to be signifying where I'm getting ready to go into right now, which I feel will be probably the most prosperous time of my life in terms of my my company and the things that we're going to be doing. So given that, let's say I want to promote manifestation or abundance from a prosperous perspective. What kinds of things do I need to be looking at in terms of adding to my environment?
One of the things that I've been studying as well, and I'm trying to do some experimentation with, is your personal mission statement. Do you have one, Linus?
I have my elevator speech, but do I have a personal? Yeah, do I have a personal mission statement? Kind of, sort of. I have it written down in different places.
Right.
Yeah, I do, but you know what? That's interesting because it's not where I see it every day.
Right.
Various
stuff.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite authors is Jack Canfield.
Mm-hmm.
From Super of the Soul, and he has the book called The Success Principles, and in that book, he really walks you through creating what I call, or what he calls, your personal mission statement.
Just wrote it down.
And from
to do. That's my intent for
you
today.
have it?
I'm gonna do one. Yeah, I'm gonna write it today. Yeah.
Okay. So he walks you through that. And from that, you determine, and that's something that you want to post in your space there.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to think about it and breathe it, live it. It's in everything you do and how you create your environment. And it's like a manifesto. It manifests those things that you want. Then from there, you always want to, analyze your space. You want to create a space, and decluttering is really, really key. And I know we've talked about that a lot, is that every time I declutter my office space or personal space, I end up getting a new client. And that literally happened 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Out of the blue.
Wow.
And these, and I manifest, like people say, well, Sherry, how do you manifest things? And I don't do anything any different than anybody else. All I do is I'll say prayers, affirmations, I'll meditate. But for me, personally, I don't have to do those things every day. It's just a thought, a defined thought would come into my head. Like, let me give you an example. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I said to myself, I haven't traveled in a while. And, next thing I know, I'm in Miami last week.
Right. You're going to Orlando later on. And yeah.
It's just like these things start, like, I don't know, like some people say, how did you get engaged? How did that happen?
That's really,
and, I never thought I'd get, there was a point in my life that I didn't even think I would ever get married again, or that anyone else would want me, but once you start working on yourself and you start really believing in some core things about yourself and beginning to love yourself and accepting yourself as who you are, that's when things start really manifesting. And I'm not saying that it's easy. It's not, or hasn't been for me, but I stopped really focusing. And I just did this, really, believe it or not. I really stopped focusing on comparing myself so much to what other people are doing, and that energy, and trying to pull myself out of that energy of victimhood, and really start honing in on creating a personal mission statement, making sure that my interior environment, the work that I'm doing, everything is pushing towards that. The decluttering in the environment, the plants are good energy for abundance. Surrounding yourself with affirmations and surrounding yourselves with good things. Those are the key elements of creating an environment that pushes towards abundance. It's about working on yourself, and it's about not waiting for permission. It's about understanding your personal mission statement and surrounding, which I know you do, surrounding yourself with people who are positive.
Yes.
Not people, one of the things that I've learned, as I mentioned before with the intuition piece, is, you start really honing that intuition, honing those skills, and anybody that doesn't seem right or seems rather toxic, I keep my friends very few. I don't have a whole lot of people. I don't care to be like super popular with everybody or sociable and those kinds of things. I am sociable, but I'm very, very selective.
Right.
Okay, about what energy comes into my space, even into my interior space, and I don't care who you are. Your energy is not stable, I don't want you near it.
That's right.
I don't want you near this space.
I agree with you 1,000%.
Creating sacred space for yourself and protecting yourself from people, places, objects, and things that may not be of your highest good.
You know what? It's interesting because there are people that come to because this is my office, but it's also my prayer room. And let's say they're visiting or something like that, and they'll, walk by and the door might be open, and they'll say, "Oh, what's this?" Now, some will walk in, which means they're supposed to. Others will stand in the hallway and look in. And I think to myself, that's interesting, because the energy is such that if your energy is not congruent with the energy, because a lot of prayers have come up in this room, lots and lots of prayers. This is where I do my Bible study, where I do my prayer line every morning, where I do my meditation, yoga, all this stuff is done in this room. And so I'm thinking, well, if your energy is not matching that, it will repel and you won't walk in that room. And it's very interesting, some of the folks who I would think would walk in that don't. And it's kind of like a aha moment to be like, oh, okay. You know, it's kind of like, you know, babies. You pick up a baby and they're, and then somebody else picks them up and they're quiet. And the mom says, you know, what is it about that other person's spirit that the baby picked up on that just wasn't congruent with what they would feel would be nurturing and comforting? And it's very telling. And your intuition will tell you certain things too about people, places, and things that you want to be in and around. And you're very right to listen to that intuition because it is instructive and it's never wrong. The only thing that gets between you're listening to the intuition and not is you. Because, right, that's it. And once you decide, okay, I'm going to start listening, you'll know which voice is real and which voice isn't. You'll know that. We inherently know it. We just have to trust that we know it.
Right. And it hasn't failed me yet. So, you know, I try to keep any negative energy away from my sphere. And even on social media, I don't even want to be electronically connected to someone who may not be of my best interest.
Right.
So, you know, those kinds of things. And I think because I work at that and I work at understanding and sending love to people, to an expectation within myself that, you know, be open, be loving to all creatures that you encounter, because you don't know what people are dealing with or what they're going through, but also be mindful of those who are in your corner and those who are not, who are wishing to obstruct your abundance. So I'm very, very clear about that. And that's a painful process, and it hasn't, you know, been positive for a lot of people, but, you know, I don't care. I care about myself. And,
that's okay.
That's a lot of people.
Self-care, self-love is very important at this stage in life, and it's important for us to recognize that. And I think it's very important for a part of that whole self-care and sort of nurturing piece is to begin to nurture your space, whether you live by yourself or live with someone else. And that's why I love your books, Feel Good Spaces, and the newest one, I have to read it, make sure I got it right, 21 Rituals to Transform
Landing on Your Feet.
And Interior Spies. And what's the rest of it?
Okay, so the book's called Landing on Your Feet.
Landing on Your Feet.
Putting 21 Rituals to Transform Your Life and Your Interior Space.
Okay, I like that part. I don't want to forget that, Landing on Your Feet. If you read this book, and I'm encouraging that you do so, because I have the PDF, I'm going to be getting the book soon, but I'm encouraging you to do so because it will be a revelation. So many aha moments, and so many times you'll recognize information that you kind of knew before, but you just haven't done it. You haven't implemented it. But reading Sherry's recommendations of things you need to be doing with your overall interior space, where you live, in terms of your space, and also where you live in terms of your soul space, I think is so important. And Sherry, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your wisdom, sharing your experience of transition and change. It's just awesome. It really is. I'm just so happy for you. And congratulations on the engagement.
I'm hoping you will come
to the wedding. She invited me to the wedding, guys, so I'm definitely coming. Are you kidding me? It's done. Next year, 2019, I am there, because that's the end of that manifestation and the beginning of something else really fantastic, and I want to be there. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you. And thank you so much. And for people who want to purchase the book, where do they go?
Okay, Amazon.com has the book, and it's on sale now. It's $5 off.
Okay, fantastic.
$14.99. It's now $10.99. Okay. And just look my name up, Sherry Burton Ways, Landing on Your Feet on Amazon, and you can get it there. My publisher is Friesen, F-R-E-I-E-S-S-E-N, I think. Press. They're out of Canada. You can get the book there, or you can go on my website, sherryburtonways.com. and you can order it directly from me, and I'll sign it and send it out to you.
Okay. And for those of you who are on the show page, you'll see the links to her website. Will lead you to the links to the book. And for those of you who are watching the webcast, we have it right across the screen there, SherryBurtonWays.com, where you can find out not just about her books, but also her blog and all these wonderful pictures and ideas of things that you can do to create a space that is good and well for your mind, body, and spirit. Yes.
And I wanted to mention one more thing, Linus.
Yes.
I did launch a podcast.
Oh, that's right. What's the name of your podcast?
Yes. So it's called Your Interior Environment Coach.
Okay.
And the series that I'm doing is on Design Psychology 101, creating sacred space.
Oh.
So there, we've done 3 recordings. I'm about to drop the 4th one now. And we're talking about all the aspects of interior environment. So people want to stay hip to that as well. So
fantastic. Thanks for mentioning that. Whatever time you listen to it, what Sherry has to share is always relevant and always timely. Thanks so much for being with us on the Wellness Journey podcast series. It's been wonderful, truly wonderful to have you.
Likewise. Thank you.
And thank you, all you listeners, viewers. It's so wonderful to be able to not just have you listen to me, but be able to see me a little bit and see our guests. I love this whole webcast thing. Come back and take a look around the show page or on whatever channel you happen to be on. You can see my other shows, the previous video shows, as well as the audio shows. Lots of information to help you attain wellness for your mind, body, and spirit after 40, 50, 60, and beyond. Thanks so much for listening and seeing. We'll talk to you again next time. Join me next week when I'll have a new guest discussing a new topic that will aid you at every point on your wellness journey. For more information on how to strengthen your mind, body, and spirit, click the link on your screen to check out my e-magazine, Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond. Till next time, keep living your life like it's golden.
For more wonderful shows like this, please go to selfdiscoveryradio.com, podcasts, and see our lineup. And if you wish to support us, we have a funded button. Please stay tuned for our next show.